This video is a video of a man, I don't know his name. The YouTube channel is called Turf Mechanic. And it's called Why Organic Fertilizers in November Are Not Wasteful. And he's sitting out in front of his, I'm assuming his yard, on his driveway on a bench, and he's just discussing. He's not really showing anything. He's just talking to the video.
Or winterization, as temperatures drop well below 50 degrees, especially this is very pertinent for cool season grasses. If you have a cool season lawn and your grass is green in the month of November, but your soil temperatures are below 50 degrees, throw down an organic fertilizer, some sort of naturally sourced nitrogen fertilizer. I've done this for a good long time, and I've touted this on a number of videos on the channel. I do get a little bit of kickback from people saying, why would you do that? It's a waste because soil bacteria is largely dormant at that stage, so it's not going to break the product down. The thing that people don't realize or think about is the cool season decomposers in the lawn is not soil bacteria. During the cold season, it's fungal decomposers, and fungal decomposers are active in the cold weather. They just work much slower. So if you put down natural fertilizers in cold weather, the fungal decomposers will slowly break these products down over the course of the next 3 months or so, 4 months or so. Depending on how cold it is, it will slow down further, but it will still happen. If you put these natural products down in the month of November when soil temperatures drop enough, the nitrogen and the nutrients that are in these products aren't going to be lost. So if you put urea down, it's going to gas off. If you put down synthetic fertilizers after grass has gone dormant, it will slowly leach out of the system. These are nutrient losses. But if you put down a natural fertilizer, it's just going to sit there. It's like bound up in this organic matter, and fungal activity is slowly going to make them plantable. It's going to break them down. It's going to take long enough to break them down that by the time spring rolls around, you'll have less nutrient loss than any other form of fertilizer. And at that point, your spring growth, so grass, I've said this many times on this channel and a variety of videos, is during the early parts of spring and the end of winter, your grass actually comes out of dormancy from the root first. So the root comes out of dormancy, starts growing, coming alive again, so to speak, before the top growth starts greening up and growing. If the nutrients are in the soil and they have been broken down by that fungal decomposer category of organism, then the grass is going to be able to start feeding significantly earlier in the season than if we did any other thing. I mean, I suppose you could throw down synthetic fertilizer late February, early March, but most people aren't going to do that. That's my long-winded thoughts about winterizing fertilizers. The full winterizer video is linked down in the description below.
Okay, so I watched the full video. I don't know if you've done that or not, but I've watched the full video, and I clicked on the link down there and watched the full video. So what the gentleman basically, and I'll get back to that in a second, what the gentleman is basically saying is do the complete opposite of what the literature we've been talking about is recommending. Don't put down soluble nitrogen in the November, December, and don't put down but do put down organic nitrogen. When people, when you see this video, and you now know if you've watched some of my videos, what the evidence indicates is opposite of what this gentleman's saying. It may be easy, or you might be quick to criticize this gentleman in a way that is personal to him. You may make comments about him as a person, his looks or his intelligence, or whoever, whatever, a personal attack against him. Saying, and I don't know the gentleman's name. I would use it if I knew it. I don't know his name, but say his name is, just call him Mechanic. This thing's Turf Mechanic. Say, if you said, "Oh, Mechanic is a moron," or "Mechanic is an idiot," or he don't believe him, is what he's saying isn't true because he's uneducated or he's an idiot. He's not committing a fallacy. You're the one committing the fallacy if you do that. Okay, an ad hominem attack is not a valid refutation of an argument. If you call him names as a means to attempt to refute his argument or counter his argument or his position, you're the one at flawed. not him. Okay. So let me explain what an ad hominem is and what an ad hominem attack is not. If you call the man crazy, if you call the man a moron, an idiot, whatever derogatory term you want to use about him as a person, he has an ugly hat or his beard's messed up, whatever you want to do, that is not an ad hominem attack. Okay, you're just being a dick, basically, is what you're doing. Okay, you're just being a jerk. If you're in juvenile, attacks against a person, a human being. However, if you say his argument or his position or his claim is not true because he's a moron or because he's an idiot or whatever the case is, then that is an ad hominem fallacy. Okay. There's a difference between calling someone names and saying his argument is untrue because he is whatever. Okay. So just keep that in mind as we continue to grow and gain knowledge on, Socratic method of questioning and epistemological reasoning, is that he is clearly not knowledgeable in these issues. Okay. Clearly he's misinformed. He's not using sound logic and the evidence to support his position. But calling the man names and doing it in a way that is attempting to refute his argument is putting you in the position of committing the fallacy, not him. All right. Now, that's the ad hominem attack or fallacy. So we're going to eventually start to learn how to, or maybe you already know how to do it. Maybe I'm late to the game, but I'm going to eventually start going over the various ways to form an argument in such a way that it's structurally sound and hopefully without flaw. You're not committing a known flaw in your argument. We have to separate the man making the claim or woman making the claim from the actual claim itself in order to have a civil discourse. Okay. If you want to create an enemy, tell him he's wrong. Tell him he's ugly. Make an attack against him personally. That's a really good way to make an enemy. This population that exists on the fringe of reality isn't going to come back to the middle by ridiculing them and shunning them and making fun of them. We need these people to come back to the center, to come back to to reality, to following the evidence. And what I mean by the center is following the evidence to make your best decision that you can. And in order to do that, we have to empathize with them to some degree. We have to use, this is my opinion, we need to use sound reasoning and structured civil discourse rather than personal attacks against them, because that's generally just going to push them further away. Okay. If we go to the extreme and we use something that's, I would hope nearly everybody listening to this will agree with, and see where we go. So if we all agree that the Earth is an oblate spheroid and it's not flat, let's assume that we agree that it's an oblate spheroid. We have a population of people that believe the Earth is flat. Okay. Ridiculing them as humans and shunning them and making fun of them and all these things isn't going to bring them back to our societal norms of understanding that the Earth is an oblate spheroid. It's not going to do that. It's just going to they're going to be met with an initial hesitation and fierce resistance to you're calling me names, so I'm going to buck up and defend myself. Okay. It's going to make it more challenging. We need these people. They're part of our society. They're part of our communities. This man probably, I don't know how many videos, he has 40,000 subscribers. How many views? He has over 1,000 views in less than a day on this video, apparently. So I think that's what I'm looking at. So I thought it was higher than that, but 1,000 views. So 1,000 people have watched this video and are being influenced by this man's flawed reasoning. So you can attack him, you can call him names, you can call him whatever you want. You can have that juvenile approach if you choose to do that. I choose to do it differently. I'm going to approach, and I approach people like this and their claims like this in a way that in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, how can I get this person to come back to the center, come back to following the evidence in a way that is constructive for my community and for my society that I live in. And it's generally not calling him names. Okay. I understand, believe me, I get the value of ridicule, and I understand making fun of certain things can have a beneficial impact. For example, he has thousands of views on this video. If ridiculing him and making fun of him gets him to take the video down and gets him to whatever, and it doesn't influence those thousands of people any longer that have watched the video, and now that information is no longer having a negative influence on the viewers, then maybe you could argue that the ridicule and personal criticisms had a positive impact on our communities, because now those people watching the video no longer can watch the video because he took it down. So you ridiculed one man and you influenced potentially thousands in a positive way because they're no longer subject to that misinformation. I get that. There's YouTube channels for that. There's plenty of opportunity for other people to do that. Okay. Knock yourself out if you want to do that. My approach is different. I feel it's important, regardless of who the person is, to understand that the person is a human being. He's been misinformed in this case. He's been misled. He's misunderstanding the system. I watched the video after that he mentioned at the end of the presentation, or at the end of his video. I watched the next video. Clearly, the man is not knowledgeable on soil nitrogen transformation, such as denitrification. He conflates ammonification with denitrification, and he's clearly not well informed. But ridiculing him isn't going to help. Politely and kindly approaching him and trying to get him to come back to the middle to help understand and be more knowledgeable on the systems might help. But I'm just saying, you want to create an enemy, call him names. Tell him he's wrong. That's the way to create an enemy. That's the way to push him further away from the center. Okay. So that's the ad hominem when you're trying to use personal attacks to refute the argument. It's not a valid approach. And I would hope that as a community watching this video, we learn that the claim is different than the claimant, and fiercely attacking, with unapologetically attacking the claim is highly encouraged. Attack his claim, criticize his claim, criticize my claims, criticize the discussion and results and conclusions of scientific literature fiercely and without remorse. But when it comes to the human being, that's where I personally draw the line. I don't condone that behavior, and I don't think it's constructive or beneficial to our society, our community. He's a human being just like me. I recognize him as equal to me in that regard.